Hello, this is Kevin Molis, the Malden Police Chief, speaking to you from the Malden Police Community Room. Our Constitution speaks of certain unalienable rights. Among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As I have often said, there are times in our history when those words have not been equally applied to everyone, but those words still contain a tremendous amount of hope for our nation and for the future. There's a quote that says the following: "It is not the critic who counts, not the one who points out how or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the one who's actually in the arena, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, or who at the worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." During the past week, the Malden Police Department responded, as they always do, to a variety of calls. This past week saw officers respond to some tragic events and some serious criminal acts. They responded to the tragic death of an infant child. Our condolences go out to that family. Officers responded to a situation where a male was found deceased inside a motor vehicle. There was a serious stabbing incident the other night. Malden officers went, investigated, rendered aid to the victim, gathered facts and information that resulted in a detective investigation that identified a suspect. A warrant has been issued, and that person is being pursued as we speak. Some great police work in some very, very trying circumstances. In my quote that I mentioned, I talked about those who spend themselves in a worthy cause. I'm joined here today by 5 members of the department who spent themselves on a very worthy cause the other night. They responded to a situation of a man who had attempted suicide. When the officers got there, Officer Dan Silva and his training officer, Sean Hussey, they located the male behind the house. They realized that the man had no pulse and was not breathing. Almost immediately, they were joined by Officer Blake Ferry and his training officer, Officer Joe Keefe, and their Street Sergeant, Jack Lanning. Dan Silva and Blake Ferry are new to the Malden Police Department, having been just sworn in recently. And I remember at their swearing-in ceremony, I said to them that it's very important to remember and realize that, particularly now, how important the actions of one police officer, the impact that it has, not only at the incident they're at, but to the community and far beyond. The good actions of a police officer speak volumes, and the bad actions of a bad police officer speak volumes as well. And I encourage them to look at that as a privilege and an honor and an opportunity. Well, these officers at this incident immediately recognized the risk and the peril that was in front of them, and they began life-saving measures through CPR. And because of their actions, their combined actions, their lack of hesitation, they're taking their training and their instincts and their desire to help, they were able to do CPR. And when they were joined by EMS and the Malden Fire Department, a pulse was detected along with breathing, and the victim was transported to a hospital where they are still receiving care. What those officers did is a great example of what police officers do each and every day. I mentioned the quote about those that criticize. To those who seek and like to find fault, I mentioned the words in our Constitution about the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I would encourage you to look at what good cops do, what your cops do, and what these cops did, and perhaps know and understand that your life is protected by those who are willing to sacrifice theirs on their behalf. That's who these cops are. They're Malden cops. And you know, today they're wearing masks so you can't see their face, but you don't have to, because they are the embodiment about what good cops everywhere do each and every day. The cop behind the mask right now, that's Dan Silva, Blake Ferry, Joe Keefe, Sean Hussey, and Sergeant Jack Lanning. But they could be any good cop in any city in America right now, willing and able to save your life if needed, to protect your life if needed, and do it at the sacrifice of their own life if called to do so. As the police chief, I stand in awe every time I come to roll call, and it's a tremendous source of pride and privilege for me to be a police chief of such a great police department, and to have people like this willing to answer that call when you call 911. Know that these officers and all of our officers who stand at roll call each and every day are willing to rise to the occasion on your behalf. For that, I thank each and every one of them. I commend each and every one of them. And as proud as I am of them, I'm not surprised, because I know what police officers do and what they hope to do each and every day. So, thank you very much, and I hope that the next time somebody out there sees a police cruiser driving by and sees the blue lights, or just sees a cop somewhere, you might want to think about, where are they going? What are they doing? Or more so, what have they done that day? And you might know that they have been to calls like I explained to you, the death of an infant, somebody found deceased in a vehicle, a violent crime, or to be called to save someone's life who decided they didn't want to live anymore. Those things have an impact on the community, and they also have an impact on cops. You know, the word immunity means protection or exemption from something. And police officers don't get any immunity from risk. They don't get any immunity from trauma. They don't get any immunity from the exposure to the realities of life and to the calls that they go on. And that's something to think about. The next time you see a cruiser, the next time you see a cop going on a call, think about that. And think about what they've done and what they're willing to do for you. Thank you very much.